43, give me traffic. Shots fired. Shots fired. I got a deputy down.
Hey everybody, this is Sean. Welcome back to my channel. Please help me out by pressing the thumbs up button, subscribing, sharing, and commenting. I appreciate all the comments and I appreciate all the dialogue. In today's video, we are going to be talking about whether or not, as an armed private security officer, are you able to shoot somebody because an acorn falls on the hood of your patrol unit? Hey everybody, this is Sean. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be discussing whether or not it is legal for you to shoot somebody because an acorn falls on your unit. I don't even know how to start this. Hey everybody, this is Sean. Welcome back to my channel. As a private security guard in your state, are you able to shoot somebody because somebody else's acorn fell on your unit? All right, let's just get started. Enough of the chatter. Where would you even, if you're creating a video like this, where would you even start? No. It's absolutely no, you can't. You cannot shoot somebody because an acorn fell on your unit. Let's backtrack. What happened? So there's a county in Florida, I'm probably butchering the name, I think it's called Wauwatosa or something like that. This Florida county agency responded to some type of, maybe it was like a prowling call or like some restraining order violation or some harassment call involving the ex-boyfriend of the reporting party. The reporting party mentioned to the police something to the extent of he had several guns on him and he was mad, he was upset, she was fearing for her life, and he had a suppressor on one of the handguns. So when they get there, the officers get there, they interview the RP in person. You have the sergeant who is getting notes and getting information, and then you have the involved deputy that is, I don't know, maybe like 25 yards away. He obviously pats down this suspect and finds nothing on him, and I think he puts him in the back of the patrol unit. Well, during his, I don't even know what you call it, during him standing around waiting maybe for the sergeant to tell him something, a big, huge acorn falls on his unit. He turns around and starts firing in his own patrol unit. And he mag dumps into his own patrol unit. He falls on the ground. He tells everybody in the road that he's hit. Sergeant is like 25 yards away. She's looking, hey, you good? Code 4? And she hears shots fired. So then she mag dumps the suspect who's in the patrol car. We later found out that this guy had no gun on him. This guy was never shot, never injured, yet he's on the floor saying he's shot, and he even dropped his gun, even though he's not shot. There's a whole lot of issues here, okay? There's something in self-defense that you'll learn in law enforcement, even private security. It's called contagion fire. And basically, you are firing because your partner is also firing. Guys and gals, this is something that probably worked in the 80s, the 90s, the 70s, 60s. And the whole rationale is basically your partner fires, therefore there should be a lethal threat. You should, without a doubt, also fire whatever he's firing at without verifying what the hell he's firing at. That was the stupid, idiotic logic back then. And basically, if you didn't fire, your partners in law enforcement, they wouldn't trust you again. That person fires, you also should fire. Again, there's no logic at all behind this. This is one of these old salty dog customs. It doesn't work. I don't know how long this sergeant has been on, but she felt the need to fire. She was justified for shooting. Guys, you cannot shoot at somebody unless there's an imminent threat of great bodily injury or death to yourself or somebody else. Just because somebody else is shooting, that doesn't mean that you also get to shoot. We're not in the military. We're not overseas. We're here in America. You're going to end up in a world of crap if you fire and your only justification is because your partner was firing as well. Second, regardless of the situation, you have to be in control of your emotions. If you are not in control of your emotions, you're not in control of the situation. Screaming, shots fired, running around, I'm shot, I'm hit, shots fired when there are no shots fired. When you're hit, and even if there were shots fired, that doesn't help. Yelling, screaming to the radio, shots fired, like 15 times, 7 times doesn't help. Instead of yelling, shots fired, I'm hit, and all this other jargon on the radio, take care of the situation. Like if this was a real situation, this guy's actually trying to kill you, take care of the situation. Because do you think that your partners are going to save your life? At that second in your own history, if this is a real situation, you think that your partners that are en route are going to save your life? It's less likely. In a situation like this, who would save your life? It would probably be yourself, right? You are your own first responder. But if not, the sergeant who's over there on scene. Okay? Third, guys, know what your target is. Look, I always have my firearm safety rules posted over here in my little recording area. But number 4 says this: always be sure of your target. Always be sure of your target. What are you shooting at? Something else that's rather interesting is, and I will leave a link in the description box of the full video. You'll hear what sounds like the RP, the girlfriend who called on her ex-boyfriend. You can hear her screaming in the background. Screaming. So this whole time she called against him, or she called for him, wanting him out of her life. And the police officers or deputies, they shoot the boyfriend, and now she's screaming. And that goes back to saying, should you be getting involved in domestic violence disputes as a security officer? You think that the RP, the reporting party, is going to back you up? The private security officer who's not related to any of them, who has no personal involvement, you think that they're going to back you up? With the last remaining time we have on this video, I want to try to understand what happened. If the thought process is, well, both cops are idiots, they're just dumb, that's all you have to explain. I don't think that you are educated, you're trained, or you have any experience with understanding psychological trauma and understanding how the brain works. That's no issue. And that's why I'm here today, just to kind of show you guys, tell you guys, explain to you what goes on in the brain and what possibly would have happened over here. And I think to be an armed private security officer, you have to understand what goes on in other people's brains, because you might have the similar thought process if you are not out there training in reality-based scenarios. I think they call it reality-based, RBS is reality-based, or reality-based trainings, RBTs, or reality-based scenarios. What I believe would happen is that his whole mind was primed into believing that this guy has a suppressed gun on him. The whole thing is gun. This guy probably has a gun. I need to be on my tiptoes. And when he put him in the unit, okay, I don't think that he was situationally aware that that prisoner was in the unit. Have you ever worked, 3 16-hour shifts in a row? 2 16-hour shifts in a row? Have you worked 20-hour shift here, got like 2 hours of sleep? Because when your mind is tired, you do some really silly things. And you lose spatial awareness and situational awareness as well. You're not as alert. And sometimes you're just in the moment. When you're just in the moment, you're not realizing what you have. I know some cops that will drive off. They'll go to Jack in a Box, In and Out, Burger King, whatever there is, to buy their food, and then they'll eat it, and then they'll realize, like, what the hell? I have a prisoner in the back. Yeah, because they were in the moment. That happens. That happens, especially when your mind is tiring. So I think that's what happened with this officer here. I'm not excusing them. I'm just trying to figure out like what they thought, and is there anything that we can do to prevent something crazy like this from happening? I think the cone, okay, hitting the unit was maybe the suppressed sound that he may have thought that came from the suppressed gun. And at that point in time, he was thinking, okay, fight or flight. I need to get off the X. I need to get out of here without even thinking. Because maybe in his mind, he thought if he ever heard a gunshot, then he would do the same thing. Why did he unload into his patrol car? Well, he probably believed that the so-called threat was there. Okay. What else? Why did he believe that he was shot? And then he fell on the ground and he couldn't pick up his gun. I spent about like 10 minutes thinking about that. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. Maybe the Acorn landed on the hood and then it hit him. But in his mind, that's what he thought. Now, he eventually resigned. I honestly think that's the best course of action for this individual. I also think for the sergeant, the best course of action would have been to resign. The sergeant's reaction was a result of this deputy's reaction, but no, this deputy that resigned did a good thing. You couldn't even get back to law enforcement. I mean, now there's memes. That's how I found out about the story about these cops showing up at the dinner table with a pair of Acorns. Like, there's all kinds of memes. No. Just leave. And that's what he did. So that's all I have, guys. Just try to cover that story because it's trending all over the place. And that's all I have. That's my explanation. If the argument is, Sean, you're excusing his behavior, absolutely not excusing his behavior. Both of these officers make us all look bad in law enforcement. Please, private security out there, don't follow these steps. I know that you won't. If you're saying that, oh, I won't do anything stupid like that, well, my question to you is, are you going through reality-based training? Does your work involve you in scenarios? Are you actively training? Are you doing anything other than going to the shooting range and qualifying? Because if you're not training, you're not practicing, you're preparing for the next meme, and you are the actor in that meme. And if you're gonna stop and say, well, that's not me, I would never do that. Well, how do you know? How do you know that you wouldn't do that? I ran the FAT simulator at one of the private colleges that I taught. I think maybe about off and on 4 years because it almost never worked. But when it would work, I had this student tell me, oh, if somebody points a gun at me, I'm going to go ahead and blast her. Okay. So we had a scenario where this young girl pointed a shotgun at the partner, right? Blew away the partner and then pointed the gun at the officer, which is the student. Student started tearing up. She started crying, and then put the gun down. Like well, I don't have a gun here, but this is the drill. This is the simulator pistol. She put it down and she started bawling up in tears. And she said, you know what? Being a cop is not for me. Being armed security is not for me also. And I respect that person even today. Even today, she's willing to go through a simulation, some type of reality-based training, and she was able to figure out at that point in time that she has no place in law enforcement. Well, at least carrying a gun. Do you want to figure it out when you go through these scenarios, when these training events, or do you want to figure out in real life when the stakes are real? All right, guys and gals, I'm looking forward to your comments and dialogue. Take care. I'm out.